Stop fighting for everyone, because one day you will realize something painful. The people you kept saving may never come back to save you. You gave your energy, your time, your loyalty, your heart, and somehow you were still the one left empty. You defended people who did not defend you. You carried burdens that were never yours. You stayed strong for everyone while silently falling apart inside. And the most shocking truth is this: sometimes the people you are fighting for are the same people watching you lose yourself. Hello everyone, welcome to the Mind Awakening channel. In this video, we will talk about the moment a person finally wakes up, when they stop begging to be appreciated, stop sacrificing their peace for others, and begin the hardest battle of all, the battle to choose themselves. Now, let's get started. Part 1. The Silent War that no one sees. There comes a moment in every person's life when exhaustion is no longer physical. It becomes spiritual. You wake up one morning and realize you have spent years trying to be everything for everyone. You became the listener when others needed comfort. You became the protector when others were afraid. You became the problem solver, the peacemaker, the dependable one who never complained. But somewhere along the way, you disappeared. The cruelest part is that this doesn't happen overnight. It happens one small sacrifice at a time. You tell yourself it's only this once, then another favor, another compromise, another night spent carrying someone else's burden while ignoring your own. Slowly, your own dreams begin to collect dust. Your peace becomes less important than someone else's approval. Your happiness depends on whether everyone around you is satisfied. You become so afraid of disappointing others that you end up disappointing the only person who has been with you since the day you were born, yourself. Many people mistake this for kindness. It isn't. Kindness is a beautiful virtue, but kindness without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. There is a profound difference between helping someone because you genuinely choose to and sacrificing yourself because you fear rejection. The world often praises people who give endlessly. It applauds those who never say no, who always make themselves available, who put everyone else first. But applause is not the same as love. Recognition is not the same as respect. In fact, people often become accustomed to your sacrifices. What once earned gratitude slowly becomes expectation. The more you give without limits, the less extraordinary your generosity appears. Eventually, your absence will be noticed more than your presence was ever appreciated. That is the silent tragedy of living for everyone else. You keep pouring from a cup that has been empty for years, hoping that somehow it will never run dry. But every human soul has a limit, and when that limit is crossed, something inside you begins to whisper a question that changes everything. Who has been fighting for me while I've been fighting for everyone else? For many people, the answer is heartbreaking. No one. That realization is not meant to make you bitter. It is meant to wake you up. Because the greatest battle you will ever fight is not against difficult people, unfair circumstances, or a world that misunderstands you. It is the battle to believe that your own life, your own peace, and your own future are worthy of the same effort you have spent giving away to everyone else. Part 2. The day you stop asking to be chosen. One of the hardest truths to accept is this: the people who truly value you will never require you to destroy yourself just to earn a place in their lives. Yet so many people spend years trying to prove their worth. They work harder than everyone else, love more than everyone else, forgive more than everyone else, hoping that one day someone will finally say, "You are enough." But that day so rarely comes, because when your value depends on someone else's approval, you hand them the power to define your happiness. And the more power you give away, the less connected you become to the person staring back at you in the mirror. Think about how many times you stayed silent to avoid conflict, how many dreams you postponed because someone else wasn't ready, how many opportunities you let pass because you were too busy carrying responsibilities that never truly belonged to you. Life has a quiet way of taking back the time we waste trying to please everyone. Years disappear before we even notice. The painful irony is that many of the people you sacrificed for continue living their lives without looking back, while you remain trapped in the weight of choices that were never yours to carry. There comes a moment when you must stop asking to be chosen. Choose yourself. Not because you are more important than anyone else, but because you cannot genuinely love, protect, or guide others if you have abandoned your own soul in the process. Real strength begins the moment you stop chasing validation and start building a life that reflects your own values rather than other people's expectations. That decision may disappoint some people. Let it. The version of you that constantly seeks approval will slowly disappear, and in its place, someone far stronger will emerge, a person who no longer measures their worth by applause, but by the quiet confidence of knowing they are finally living a life that belongs to them. Before we continue, take a moment to ask yourself one honest question. How much of your life have you spent fighting battles that were never yours? If this message speaks to something you've been carrying in silence, let me know by leaving a simple "I'm choosing myself" in the comments. Sometimes that single sentence is the first step toward reclaiming your life. And if you're finding value in this journey, subscribe to the channel and join a community of people who are learning to think clearly, stand firmly, and live with quiet strength. Now, let's continue, because the most important lesson is still ahead. Part 3. The price of carrying everyone else's expectations. There is a burden heavier than failure. It is the burden of living a life that was never truly yours. Many people never realize they are trapped because the prison has no walls. It is built from expectations. A parent's approval, a partner's demands, a friend's dependence, society's endless definition of success. Little by little, you begin making decisions based on what will keep everyone else comfortable instead of what allows you to breathe. At first, it feels like responsibility. Then, it becomes obligation. Eventually, it becomes a life sentence. You smile even when your heart is exhausted. You agree when every part of you wants to say no. You continue walking a path that no longer brings you peace simply because you fear disappointing someone else. But every yes spoken against your own values leaves a scar that no one else can see. The tragedy is not that people ask too much of you. The tragedy is that you forget you have the right to choose. Some people will call you selfish the moment you begin protecting your time, your energy, and your peace. Not because you have changed into a worse person, but because they were comfortable benefiting from the version of you that never had boundaries. That is why growth often feels lonely. When you stop carrying everyone's emotional weight, some relationships begin to fade. When you stop fixing every problem, some people stop calling. When you stop chasing acceptance, those who only valued your usefulness quietly disappear. Do not mistake their absence for your failure. Sometimes losing access to certain people is the price of finally gaining access to yourself. The strongest people are not those who sacrifice themselves without end. They are the ones who know exactly what is worth fighting for and what must be released without guilt. The day you stop living to satisfy everyone else's expectations is the day your real life begins. Not an easier life, but an honest one. And there is no greater freedom than waking up each morning knowing that your choices are no longer controlled by fear, but guided by purpose, self-respect, and the quiet courage to stand on your own side. Part 4. The most difficult person you will ever save is yourself. There is a question that changes everything. Not, who needs me? But, what has all this sacrifice cost me? Sit with that question for a moment. Count the opportunities you walked away from because someone else needed you. Count the nights you couldn't sleep because you were carrying problems that never belonged to you. Count the times you ignored your own pain, convincing yourself that everyone else came first. Now ask yourself another question. If someone you loved lived exactly the way you do, would you be proud of the life they were living? Or would you beg them to finally put themselves first? Sometimes we give others the compassion we refuse to give ourselves. We encourage them to rest, yet we keep running. We tell them to heal, yet we continue hiding our own wounds. We remind them that they deserve happiness, while secretly believing we must earn ours through endless sacrifice. That is not humility. That is self-neglect disguised as virtue. The hardest lesson life teaches is that no one can rescue the person who refuses to rescue themselves. One day, your body begins to speak the words your mouth never could. Fatigue replaces enthusiasm. Anxiety replaces peace. Bitterness quietly takes the place of kindness. You wonder why your heart feels so heavy when all you've ever done is care for other people. The answer is painfully simple. You cannot spend years abandoning yourself without consequences. Healing begins the moment you stop apologizing for having needs of your own. It begins when you understand that protecting your peace is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of responsibility. Because a person who is emotionally exhausted cannot offer genuine love, a person who has lost themselves cannot lead anyone. A person who constantly ignores their own soul will eventually have nothing left to give. This is why fighting for yourself is not about becoming cold, distant, or uncaring. It is about becoming whole again. It means setting boundaries without hatred, walking away without revenge, saying no without guilt, choosing silence instead of unnecessary conflict, and having the courage to disappoint others when pleasing them would require betraying yourself. The strongest people are not those who carry the heaviest burdens. They are the ones wise enough to put down the burdens that were never theirs. Because, in the end, your greatest responsibility was never to save the world. It was to make sure you did not lose yourself while trying. Part 5. The life that begins when you finally choose yourself. There comes a quiet morning when everything changes. Nothing dramatic happens. The sun rises, as it always has. The world continues moving. People remain busy with their own lives. But something inside you is different. For the first time in years, you stop carrying the invisible weight of trying to be enough for everyone. You realize a truth that had been standing in front of you all along. Most people were never asking you to destroy yourself. You were. You believed your value came from being needed. You confused sacrifice with love, silence with maturity, and exhaustion with strength. You thought that if you kept giving, one day the world would finally return everything you had lost. But life doesn't work that way. The world rarely rewards those who abandon themselves. Instead, it quietly accepts whatever you teach it to expect. If you teach people that your time has no value, they will waste it. If you teach people that your boundaries do not matter, they will cross them. If you teach people that your dreams can always wait, eventually even you will stop believing in them. The greatest transformation begins when you rewrite those lessons, not through anger, not through revenge, but through self-respect. You stop explaining every decision. You stop chasing people who have already chosen a different path. You stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. And something remarkable happens. The energy that was once scattered across 100 different battles begins flowing back into your own life. You rediscover forgotten ambitions. You rebuild your confidence one promise at a time. You learn new skills, strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and finally create the future you kept postponing for everyone else's comfort. Ironically, this is also the moment healthier relationships begin to appear, because people who genuinely respect you never ask you to betray yourself in order to keep them close. They admire honesty. They respect boundaries. They value someone who stands firmly without arrogance and loves deeply without losing themselves. That is the kind of strength the world cannot take away. So if you remember only one lesson from this story, let it be this: you were not born to spend your entire life proving your worth to people who cannot see it. You were born to build a life so grounded in purpose, dignity, and self-respect that whether others stay or leave no longer determines your peace. Stop fighting battles that steal your soul. Stop carrying burdens that were never yours. Stop sacrificing the person you are today for the approval you may never receive tomorrow. Fight for your character. Fight for your peace. Fight for your future. Fight for the life that still waits patiently on the other side of your courage. Because the day you finally choose yourself is not the day you stop caring about others. It is the day you become strong enough to care for them without ever losing yourself again. Conclusion. The greatest victory in life is not proving your worth to the world. It is refusing to lose yourself while trying. People will come and go. Expectations will change. Some will appreciate your kindness, and others will simply expect more. But through it all, never forget that your peace, your purpose, and your future deserve your protection. If there is one lesson to carry with you after watching this video, let it be this: never sacrifice your identity to earn someone else's acceptance. Help others because it reflects your character, not because you are afraid of being rejected. Be kind, but set boundaries. Love deeply, but never abandon yourself. Stand beside the people who matter, but never walk away from your own dreams just to keep everyone else comfortable. Starting today, ask yourself one simple question before making every important decision. Does this bring me closer to the person I want to become, or further away from myself? If the answer takes you away from your peace, have the courage to choose differently. Because the strongest people are not those who fight every battle. They are the ones who know which battles are truly worth fighting. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and become part of a community committed to wisdom, discipline, and inner strength. Every new subscriber helps this channel continue creating meaningful stories that inspire people to live with greater courage and purpose. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.